The 1970s. If you think it was all about the tired, lazy stereotypes of disco balls, long gas lines, pet rocks, roller boogie, and Kiss, you are on the wrong track. The 70s were all about a battle. No, not Nixon versus Democrats, Archie versus Meathead, Ali versus Frazier, or even disco versus rock. The greatest battle of all was for the title, king of the modern heroic myth. For millions of kids and adults, the giants of present-day heroism were Superman and Spider-Man. However, for hardline fans who considered their guy the top of the comic universe, Superman and Spider-Man were more evenly matched as pop culture figures than either side would admit. The characters not only survived the rise and fall of the 1960s superhero boom, but successfully lived two lives, exploring more adult and dramatic storylines in print. Some of the greatest creative runs associated with comics were produced in the early 70s. Critical narratives in the Superman and Spider-Man mythos were explored throughout a range of titles, which helped define the Bronze Age of comics. Simultaneously, the characters were able to appeal to an even younger audience via landmark television shows such as Sesame Street and The Electric Company. The characters were already working double duty with company-wide appearances and spin-offs in any form you could imagine. Its effect helped transform comic conventions from little get-togethers into main events. Although enjoyed by a global audience, Superman and Spider-Man were truly American-ingrained myths, arguably as recognizable as any politician or celebrity. As the US entered its bicentennial year, DC and Marvel placed their icons front and center of the celebration, which was great for everyone except the Marvel and DC hardcore fan bases, whom by 1976 were more locked in than ever, and the "no, he's not stronger, yes he is" argument was still raging and was simply not going to cut it. Not to miss out on a colossal opportunity, DC and Marvel finally agreed on an answer to comic fans' burning debate. Arguably, the most significant cross-company production in the annals of comic book history, this self-titled Battle of the Century actually began its origin as a film idea, but that was not to be, as DC's parent company, Warner Brothers, was already set to produce what would become Superman the movie. Undeterred, DC and Marvel missed no opportunity to exploit their flagship characters, using the 1970s popular oversized tabloid format to showcase the larger-than-life battle. With famed talents Jerry Conway, Ross Andru, and Dick Giordano, with some non-credited help from Neil Adams and John Romita Sr. helming the project, the only thing left to settle was the plot and which character would come out on top. In a plot that reads like a mashup of 1940s action serials and 1970s disaster movies, Luthor and Dr. Octopus, recently incarcerated by Superman and Spider-Man, start an unlikely alliance and escape from prison, hell-bent on revenge and conquering the world. At the unveiling of an advanced weather-modifying satellite in New York, assigned reporters Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Peter Parker, and Parker's girlfriend, Mary Jane Watson, find themselves caught in the chaos of Luthor's theft of the satellite device. Lois and Mary Jane are kidnapped, teleported to the Injustice Gang satellite, which inspires the obligatory misjudgment fight between the heroes. Once the air is clear, and realizing that they were merely manipulated by Luthor and Dr. Octopus, ultimately the plot comes to a climax aboard the Injustice Gang satellite, where the heroes nearly meet their end, until Dr. Octopus is convinced that Luthor intends to use the weather device to cause a global catastrophe and not conquering the world as originally intended. Dr. Octopus impairs the weather device, which opens the door for Superman and Spider-Man to battle the evildoers to a standstill and rescue their friends. With the villains set to return to prison, Superman and Spider-Man offer words of mutual respect and part ways, with the hope they will meet again. As team-ups go, Superman vs. The Amazing Spider-Man was undeniably historic as it was the first, but suffers from the same problem of nearly all cross-company productions. No one company will allow their flagship heroes to lose or be dominated by the competition. If one can move beyond that necessary evil, then there is the pure joy of experiencing DC and Marvel's polar opposites interacting with an ease few would have expected in the years leading up to this event. But that was the magic of the story. DC and Marvel's most personable and level-headed heroes being featured in a tale which avoided a tree-marking ego session, reflective of the worst impulses of some comic creators and their fans. With the team-up, DC and Marvel, though fundamentally different in 1976, both made their respective worlds seem a bit larger, now that the possibility of the unusual marriage of heroic myths was no longer a figment of fan imaginations.